Public Law Center, bringing hope, access, and justice to Orange County's underserved.
There was a huge gap in services for homeless 18 to 24-year-olds. So there was a huge need for someone, a nonprofit, to step in and help these kids. So that's what we brought to Diamond and said, we need to form a nonprofit.
When Kathy first came to me and told me her idea, I thought it was an amazing idea. So Build Futures was placed on our case list, which goes out twice a month to hundreds of volunteer attorneys in Orange County and LA.
And I was going down the list and saw this case, which seemed like such a good fit, given my business experience and my nonprofit experience. So we connected first by telephone. I knew right away, Kathy is so dynamic and so passionate about the mission.
Our mission, our goal, is to take homeless youth, kids off the street, and move them to self-sufficiency. That's the bottom line.
The bicycles and the bike business is such an embodiment of the whole mission of Build Futures. So our first step was to form a corporate entity and do all those filings. And then the next step, of course, was to make that entity viable financially. And that meant seeking tax exemption.
She made getting a 501c3 so simple and took care of everything and is so knowledgeable. After that, we had a need with our bike business to talk about a property and lease, and PLC once again was able to match us with a pro bono lawyer to get advice on that. Then we need to talk about trademarks, and we're having a meeting through PLC with a trademark law firm. So PLC's really helped move us along.
Working here taught me pretty good leadership skills. Usually we have 2 kids working cleanup, 2 kids working rust removal, and then we got 2 kids up here probably working on fixing gears or greasing anything, and I'll probably be right here. This is my table.
This is amazing to come in here and see all of these bicycles and see the kids that are working on these bicycles who just a year ago, 2 years ago, were homeless, aimless on the streets and had nothing to do. And now they have work that they can be proud of.
The most significant thing that you hear immediately when you finally talk to a kid and they understand working with Build Futures is the first hope they might have had ever. They're not getting second chances. They've never been given the first chance.
I felt like it wasn't my place to be a bad person in the world, because I understand that a lot of my family members were pretty bad people, and I just decided to myself that I didn't want to end up like them. From what I've heard, they've helped a lot of people, and I probably wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for the Public Law Center.
The Public Law Center has what's called a medico-legal partnership with a great partner, that is the St. Joseph's Health System here in Orange County. Through that, we provide legal services to patients of that system in several clinics, including this one at the Center for Cancer Prevention and Treatment.
The nurses alerted me that there's a new patient who would probably need some assistance, in that she had extensive breast cancer, and that she has a young child, and she has a husband who's disabled that she's a caregiver for. Working with Mylene and assessing her needs, it was determined that she could benefit with the services of the Public Law Center.
Mylene, in the interest of caring for her daughter and making advanced plans for her small daughter, had paid $500 for a will, unfortunately. Well, part of that was rent money. And as a consequence, she had gotten slightly behind in her rent.
I never had any legal problem in my entire life. So it came to a time when I am sick. When I found out, so the letter, I really get shaky, I get anxious and my heart got palpitated, I'm not used to those kind of, problem.
What was really clear was that we had to take care of the eviction first. She had received a 3-day notice, I believe. We had about 2 days to get an answer on file, or she was going to be defaulted. And once she was defaulted, that was it. There would not be really any opportunity to negotiate with the landlord.
My husband, he's also worried with us. We were gonna sleep outside, you know. And I said, don't worry, the angels are there from PLC.
The Public Law Center came to the rescue because without them, I think Myleen's case may have had a total different outcome, not only for her, but for her daughter and her husband.
In just, I think, in 2 days, they told me to do this and that, and I did that, and the problem was solved.
The best part, though, to me, of the whole experience was the opportunity to sit down with her and Myleen and counsel Myleen, because as a lawyer, I mean, I understand the legal issues, but I'm not a social worker, and I am treading in somewhat foreign waters. It was so great to have both of us there.
It was really hard. It was really hard. But when they came, you know, they're like, they're God sent to me, you know, not only helping you, but, you know, becoming like friends to you.
Avak is an Armenian Christian who lived in Baghdad, and in 2003, after the US invasion, he began working as an independent contractor in the Green Zone, helping American companies obtain supplies from outside the Green Zone, and eventually started receiving death threats.
He was receiving threatening text messages on his cell phone, death threats. He went downstairs one day and found a bullet in an envelope on the windshield of his car.
A few weeks after that bullet was left on his car, in the middle of the night, he heard a shooting going on in the street, and they hid under the bed for the rest of the night. In the morning, Avak went downstairs onto the street where he parks his car, and he saw that there were bullet holes in his windshield.
Also, Rita, his wife's parents' house was invaded, so they were really in very significant danger there.
In Avak's case, we argued that based on the sort of threats and harm that Avak and his family had experienced, and had a well-founded fear of suffering torture and persecution if they were returned because of being Christian, so because of their religion, because of their race, because they're Armenians, and because of their political opinion, because they definitely supported the U.S.
I can protect my family and feel I'm more safe in my country because the situation is so bad. And the reason it's I'm working with the Green Zone, with the American and the American United States people say it's recommended to go to United States, better for you and your family. You feel safe and your family is safe, your kids. I sold everything to coming to United States and traveling from Iraq to Kurdistan, after Kurdistan to somewhere in Europe, later in Mexico, in Tijuana. And when I crossed the border in San Diego and I asylum there, I applied for refugee.
It takes a lot of interviews and a lot of patience from the clients and the lawyers and the translator to go through all of that history, through 6 years of incidents, and to figure out what's really going to be important at the end of the day for the asylum application.
We reached out to experts. We received expert witness affidavits. We filed over 1,000 pages of country conditions evidence. It almost became like a running joke between the judge and Don Brown about, you know, Mr. Brown, I hope you don't have anything more to file. And of course, we would have more to file. It was all about creating a foolproof case, which they ultimately succeeded in doing.
The last hearing with the immigration court, thanks God, the judge approved the case, asylum to stay in the United States.
Hearing the judge say asylum granted was enormously rewarding and relieving for me, for the other attorneys, for Avak and Rita. And then the judge said, and I'll never forget this, there was a big United States flag behind the judge, and he said, Mr. and Mrs. Avak Miramosas, welcome to the United States. And he said, whenever I say that, I still get choked up.
Public Law Center exists to provide hope, to provide access, to provide justice to those in Orange County who are without. Every day we get clients coming into our office who are confused, they're afraid, they're lost, they don't understand how the legal system works. They don't understand what to do with the particular legal problem that they're faced with. We try to provide some clarity, we try to provide answers, we try to provide hope to those who are without. And every day we have volunteer lawyers who come to us wanting to provide help, wanting to get involved in the community, but they don't know where to turn, they don't know how to connect with those who need help. We provide that connection. We're the ones that match the tremendous resources of the private bar with those in tremendous need.
Public Law Center, bringing hope,
access, and justice
to Orange County's
underserved.